Okay, Dr. C, thanks for joining us again. We do want to talk about this recent report that came out that shows there's limited progress in increasing the healthy eating habits and physical activity behaviors in our high school students here in the United States. What is the reason? Well, it sounds like this study really focused on the impact that the family has on these habits. Is that right?
Well, it raises that concern because, as you can imagine, the family is quite instrumental at some of the behaviors that we learn at a very young age. If you can imagine, if you enjoy eating apples or carrots, you're likely to give your kids apples and carrots to have for snacks. If you don't like Brussels sprouts, you're probably not going to be introducing them to Brussels sprouts. And some of the research has shown it can take up to 15 times to be around a food item before a kid is or child is ready to accept it or trust it, to even taste it. And it may take another 10 to 15 exposures for that tasting to become something that they like. So what the family does and the behavior they set up with meals and how well they sit down together and eat will perhaps influence what happens, not just through childhood, but even through adulthood.
Boy, hearing you talk about some of this stuff, I'm questioning my parenting abilities when it comes to feeding our children carrots and things like that. So, what are the current trends right now with diet and physical activity in school-aged children?
Right. So, based on this 2019 youth behavior survey that came out recently, we have made some progress. High school students are drinking much less sodas. They're drinking much less of the sports drinks that can still have lots of sugar in it, and they're drinking more plain water. But here's where we're not doing so good. They're not eating as many fruits and vegetables. They're not having regularly breakfast items, and they're also not engaging in moderate to vigorous physical activity on a daily basis.
Okay, well that's some progress right there. Not as much soda or sports drinks, but a lot of sugar in those drinks. So this is a question that I think I may ask myself weekly with our children. How much physical activity should school-age children be getting every day, every week?
So the recommendations are that children ages 6 to 17 get at least 60 minutes each day of moderate to vigorous physical activity. That seems like a lot, but that's not just because they're outside needing to run or sprint. They can be dancing. They can be playing basketball. They can be, using time doing gymnastics or doing anything that's raising the heart rate. And additionally, they should be getting at least 3 days a week of something that's strengthening the bones or the muscles. So whether that's been weightlifting or even gymnastics and running, there's some crossover in what those activities could be. It could be as simple as doing, a hiking trip with the family. That could also be strengthening muscles and bones. But those are the recommended, but only, probably 23% of that age group is actually meeting those recommendations.
Yeah, there's nothing that quite has the impact like free play. But living in South Carolina, it's sometimes so hot, you get a lot of belly achers when you get them out there to start playing. It is a struggle. So what can be done to address some of the dietary and physical activity behaviors that we're seeing right now?
One of the places that does a lot of the addressing of these problems are at schools, because that's where children spend most of their time.
Mm-hmm.
So schools have been needing to, look at what items are available to eat during the day, that they're items that children will actually enjoy, but also, take in. Eliminating the sodas and the sugary drinks and having just water available throughout the day. PE is another thing that's really interesting. Most states require that public schools offer physical education. However, only 1 in 4 seniors or 1 in 4 high school students in 2019 actually took PE. That's because, there could be other things that they can do in lieu of PE, whether it be ROTC and things like that. So PE is another thing that we can be encouraging students to do to increase their physical activity, because again, they're spending a great deal of their time while they're at school.
Okay. So what advice do you have for parents, who have children, present company included, who are extremely against, strongly resist physical activity or healthy eating? These are the stubborn ones. So what's your best advice for us?
So here's where it gets personal for all of us, is we have to be the example we want to see. right? So this is not one of those things that we're going to be able to parent from sitting on the sofa. We're going to have to be involved in this. We're going to have to eat the food that we want to see them eat. And we would like to, see them eating healthy foods, and we have to buy the healthy food. We have to cook, and we have to, also participate in those. We can't take the, nightly trips to the fast food places if we want to see them eating well. Even activity, we're going to have to be a part of the exercise. We're going to have to find activities that they enjoy doing and that they will do. And perhaps even considering things as a family, whether it be, a game of basketball, the kids versus the parents, finding some way to make it enjoyable. But really the key here is to be a part of the activity and finding things that they will want to do and actually participate in.
As Dabo has said, all in. The whole family's got to be in, it sounds like, to make this work. All right. Dabo, thanks so much for joining us. Some good advice there.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.